Hey, everybody, it's Alisa. Welcome back to the Ready Status podcast.
Good job.
I am here with John, my husband, and we're going to talk about character versus reputation. And I have a question for you.
All right, ask.
Who are you when nobody's watching?
The same dude that when people are watching. I think I'm the same regardless. I would say, and we're gonna talk about this in the podcast, but I would say like I'm probably in my head a little more when nobody's watching. Like I'm definitely in this space of like being harder on myself, or I gotta be really careful with the language that I use because I just don't want it to impact all of what I'm doing. But yeah.
Nice.
That's kind of where I am. So you want to get into this? What do you have? Do you have some notes you want to roll through first, or you want to just get into this bad boy? Let's get into it. All right. So we're going to go through character versus reputation today. And this is a big deal on a lot of fronts for a lot of you guys. And I really want to outline what the differences are between the two and why they matter and the importance of them in the long run. And you see it more than ever now. I mean, especially now that we're running into AI. And so let me just run through kind of what these things are. So I want to give you a little bit of a definition out of the gate. So reputation is what people think you are. Okay. It's also what you want people to believe about you. So you'll see a lot of times, let's just use social media right now for the example, but you'll see a lot of times two versions of people, right? You'll see a version of people where they're painting this picture. You guys have heard this a million times where they essentially call it the highlight reel, where people are painting the picture of like how great life is. Life is good. Look at the house, the car, the vacations, the blah, 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 right? They're trying to convince you that they are a certain way, right? They're giving you a snapshot of all the greatness and all the good things. And then character is actually who we are. Right. So it's actually who we are. And we used to do these things. You've been through one. We used to do these things called the reckoning. And what I loved about the reckoning was all the time when people would come to a reckoning, they would fill out a form and they would say, this is who I am. And they would list like, my company does all this revenue. I've got a great marriage. I've got these kids that are amazing. I've got blah, 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 blah. And they would always give us like the highlights. And when we ask that question at the bottom, that's like, if there's one area of your life that you want to fix right now, what is it? Some people had the guts to say they would put NA in the blank, bro. They would literally put like NA, not applicable to me. Or they would write like two little words like better health or better relationship or whatever. But what I loved about the reckoning is what the fastest way to see someone's true character, like who they really, really are, is you put them under an immense amount of pressure. And how they respond under that pressure is it's the lowest form of common self. So you get to see in a snapshot, in a blink, who they are, right? And I think that's going to be really important as we go through this, because it's important to know that character actually exposes your real reputation. And I think that's really, really important. And there's going to be some things you guys are going to write down today. We're going to get tactical with you guys and go through some really cool stuff. So based on your perception and all the things that you see out there, and how many people do you see where they're just in this space of constantly trying to protect their image? And they're like the way that they interact with people, the way that they show up, like they're really afraid, like if people see them other than this image that they've built, then it's going to be bad news.
Yes.
Kind of talk about that.
A lot. Yeah. So I would go back to the reckoning events too. Like whenever you put those on, I did go through one myself as well. But yeah, you'll find all kinds of people very different from the day one where they're just sitting in like a classroom setting, going into the day two where we actually put them through an early morning workout with, like you said, some pressure, like being pressure tested. And you find all kinds of things. You find people who give up. They just completely stop. Like, I'm all done here. I'm not doing this anymore. And then you find people who get like literally angry. Like they are so angry that they're out there doing that. And in business, that kind of goes into exactly what happens in the business when there's immense amounts of pressure or really any pressure at all. Those people are going to revert back to that specific situation. So you find all the things. You also find the people that are just calm, like they're just doing the thing and they're just going through it. And it's like, okay, that's how they react when someone steals money from their business or something happens like that. So going back to that, but yeah, there's a lot of, it goes both ways. Like I would say like a person who's very stable and is very trustworthy and really works on themselves and builds their character outside of their reputation are really going to be the ones who have their reputation and character match. Yeah. If that makes sense. So, I mean, both sides of the coin there.
Yeah. I always like to see, that same thing you're talking about where people would come into the event on day one. Everybody's in the comparison game. They're sizing everybody up, right? They're like, what does this guy do? What does this guy do? Whatever. And they're trying to almost posture as like the smartest person in the room, right? I want to be the guy that everybody comes to and asks the questions. And then not everybody, you've got some people that are like, they're standoffish. They're like way in the back, right? And these are the people that I watch, right? I watch the people, the ones that are like, like they don't want to interact a whole lot. They're definitely there to soak up, whatever they can get, but they stand off in the back because they're just trying to get a read on the room. Like, who's posturing and who do I really want to interact with, right? But it's like you said, it's really great when you go through, when we've been through those events and you get to see the evolution of the people too, right? You get to see them like, this is what I want everybody to think. But then like once they let the guard down and they really let their character out, they get to come face to face with this version of self and ask them, do I really like this guy? Do I really like this woman? Right? Is this really who I want people to see and be and whatever? And you can, I think like what you're saying, and I don't want to get too far ahead of what we're going to work through today, but I think when the character and the reputation don't match up, essentially what you're doing is lying. There's one version of you or the other is lying. Is just maybe lying is a harsh word, but not telling the truth, right? Because you're trying to convince people, which is exhausting. You're trying to convince people this is who I am, but then when your character shows up, if they don't align, people are going to start to question like, is that really who he is? Or can I trust him? Or whatever. So, you can speak on that a little bit. But I definitely want to go through that more. Like, how do you actually align them and whatever today for sure.
Okay. Perfect. The mental, well, I would say like not only the feeling of like not telling the truth because the two are at odds or different, but also like the mental capacity. So you are all the time trying to decide who do I have to be here and who do I have to be there? Like when I go home, who do I have to be? When I'm at work, who do I have to be? And like make like shifting and adjusting like that takes a lot of mental capacity that could be freed up if the two align. So I think that.
I think it's important to look at the differences in the two. And I think to me, reputation is performance. Like it's like someone just acting a certain, I'm not going to call anybody out, but I am going to give you guys like some things to pay attention to where, there's a lot of dudes on social media that think it's fun to like, be around specifically other women that like are in bikinis and, like all this other stuff. And, like, let me show you a photo of my house and me partying and I'm on a boat and I've got women around me that are like this and whatever. That's reputation posturing right there. Right. Because it's like, you're working so hard to like gain people, into your business or following or life or whatever, using material objects or the objectification of women, to attract this certain group of people who are going to be excited by how you're living, allegedly. So that's how they want to do it. On the flip side, the people where their character and reputation match up don't need to do that. They might give you glimpses of like cars, house, wife, whatever, but they're done in ways where it's like there's usually a story with it, right? There's usually like here's something I messed up, but was able to overcome in order to do this thing. But it's truth, right? It's like all the things that they're speaking about are truthful. There's not a manufactured thing. Like I'm not leasing this thing to try to prop myself up, or I'm not using this thing to try to prop myself up to make it look like I'm more than what I am. I just am what I am. And so I was able to do these things and I have this life. Right. So, but yeah, I think that's a really solid way to look at it, is reputation is performance. It's like constantly acting.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what causes the disconnect, I think.
Yeah.
I tell you a lot. And I'm just like, why can't people just tell the dang truth?
Yeah.
Like, I just tell the truth, like be the same wherever you are. Cause I don't know, it's just like, it's easy to spot when it's not being done the same way. You know, if you get to know someone like on a business level and then you get to know them on a personal level and there are things that don't align there.
Yeah.
You can tell, like people can tell, it's easy to tell. So yeah, that's one thing. I'm like, just tell the dang truth.
Yeah,
like, let's just say what's real.
I remember, I was at an event one time and one of the guys that we both admire a lot was like, you just always want to be the same person. Like if you're going to do a podcast or you're going to speak at an event or you're going to build a business or whatever, you want to be the same person that you put out on social media. When people meet you, they don't want to feel like, oh, well, this is not that guy. You know what I mean? Like that guy is this, but this guy is this. Like this is weird. There's not a congruence here. So yeah. So let me run through this real quick. So we talked about this a little bit. Reputation is often manufactured. Character is revealed under pressure. Reputation is built through visibility. Character is built through consistency. I think that's important. That's incredibly important. When you're seeing, like we go to the gym every day. We're working out every day. That's a part of our lifestyle, right? That's, I don't know if you guys have listened to some of the other podcasts I've done in the past, but one of the reasons why we go to the gym every day is it is about physical fitness, but it's also a test, right? It's a constant reminder to us that we've got room to grow, right? And we've got trainers and all that stuff, and they love to push us to past where we would normally push ourselves. And I call this method, scheduling pain daily, just as a reminder of like, okay, when I'm under pressure, do I like how I show up? This is still, and just so you guys know, like we're not perfect at this at all. We still have a lot of things that we work on, especially specifically to character, because there's so many mornings where we wake up and neither one of us want to work out, and we're like, just hit the snooze, cancel the trainer, da 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 da. But that's our character, right? That's who we are in that moment, showing up and saying, okay, well, I can either not go, and that ends up being who I am. Or I can go despite how I feel, and that ends up being who I am. Like I'm committed one way or the other, right? So I think that's important.
I think one thing you just said is important too. Your reputation and your character, obviously we already said you want them to be aligned. Like you just said with that one specific example, like you hear the alarm go off, you're tired from the night before, you don't really want to go to a workout. That's why we do schedule a trainer because he's going to be there regardless at 6.
Yeah.
So, and he's told us like, if you don't open the garage, I will come to your front door. I'll ring the doorbell. So we know, like, obviously we're always working on our character. We're always working on places to improve and to grow ourselves. That's that. When we know that we have a tendency to hit the snooze button and maybe not wake up for the early workout because of some, excuse we gave ourselves from the night before, we put those things into place where they're going to show up regardless.
That's right.
So if we know that's like one place where we could slip, we're going to put something in place to prevent us from actually doing that.
Yep.
So basically what you're doing is just setting those almost guardrails in place. Like, I know I might snooze, I'm going to get a trainer here. I know I might not complete this process, so I'm going to tell someone else on my team that the deadline's today.
Yeah.
Basically, I guess what I'm saying is accountability. Like you have someone there that's holding you accountable and keeping you accountable to the things.
Well, and we're not to get too far ahead, but that's the self-awareness component. right? Which a lot of people trying to portray the image of a certain reputation lack in self-awareness of what they're actually doing to themselves, right? They're not just hurting other people, they're hurting themselves badly in that stuff, because you're essentially just, it's just again, I know it's a harsh word, but you're like lying to yourself to try to convince other people or manipulate. You've used that word in the past, manipulate other people into believing that you're something you're not, and coerce them into buying or engaging with you based on that false reality. And always that gets exposed, right? I mean, your character is going to come out at some point, and it's going to expose the propped up thing at some point in time.
Yes, exactly. So specifically in business. Yes. You're 100%. Yes. 100%.
Reputation wants applause. Character survives without recognition. This is one, you guys, this is one that Alisa has challenged me on a lot, right? Because sometimes we've done work in the past for people, with people. There hasn't been a lot of like, hey, I see you and thanks. And we both, I don't know if I'll give you guys like a little synopsis into something here that we're not going to talk about today, but maybe we could do a podcast on it later. We all have love languages, right? If you have not read the book, The 5 Love Languages, you should go get it and figure out what they are, because once you know someone's love language, you can move a mountain with these people when you really understand. But ours are both words of affirmation, right? So I have always been that way ever since I was a little kid, that when I'm being affirmed and someone is speaking life into me and they're like, I see you and I see what you're doing and whatever, my work ethic tends to dramatically increase. The opposite is also true. When somebody is like tearing me down emotionally, they're not giving me the applause that I think I need or whatever, sometimes I'll regress. I'll start to pull back a little bit. I'll start to get a little bitter. So this is really important. My reputation, also sometimes as my ego, wants to be rewarded for the work that I'm doing, instead of me just having self-gratification and being like, I know what I'm doing and that's enough, right? God knows what I'm doing and that's enough, right? Sometimes I need those applause, right? Where when my character shows up, it will just do the work without the recognition. It doesn't need all of the attaboys and the whatever. You feel that too, right?
Yes. Yeah. I strongly believe I know what I'm doing and I don't need anyone else to tell me I'm doing a good job.
Yeah.
I do. I love words of affirmation. That's my love language. So that's really what gets me going. But yeah, I'm very clear on things that I'm doing. Yes.
Yeah. I think there's some things that I want to use to just remind you guys, some things to think about, right? Is that you can rent reputation. Like you can borrow it, you can rent it. You guys have heard words or phrases like fake it till you make it. That's literally renting a reputation. But what you have to earn character, right? And that's why it's so hard for people is reputation. You can build a brand, you can build a image online, social media, whatever, and you can quickly get people to like and follow and engage and whatever. But the character of who you are is built over time. And in this day and age, people want that rapid reward. They want that quick dopamine hit, that feel good moment, whatever, the applause before the work, kind of thing. And so I think it's just really important for you guys to understand, like, character is a long-term game. Also, you can destroy character like in a blink. You can build up all this credibility, do all these really great things, so on and so on and so on, and then have a momentary lapse in judgment and just shred your character in a blink. Right now, again, opposite, you can also build it back, but you have to regain trust. You have to take people through the process. You have to show them that was a blink or a blip and not who you actually really are at the core. And I think that's really important.
Yes. I was just going to bring in a John Maxwell quote from his book, like the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. He does have one of his 21 laws is the law of solid ground, which talks specifically about having character. So that kind of goes here. And yeah, character, integrity, and consistently build trust over time. So exactly what you're saying, like you can have a reputation online, get popular enough to meet 100 people, and those 100 people, when they meet you, who you are doesn't match what they've seen, and now you have no credibility and your reputation is now zero, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
so just exactly what you said, that character is something that's built over time and does take time. Like you have to build the trust, the integrity, and all of that, with it be a team, with it be your wife, with it be your kids, whatever that looks like. But yeah, it's kind of like how we talk about like making deposits into the bucket.
Yeah.
You have to make a lot of deposits into the bucket of character with your people for them to really know, like, okay, this person is, I would say, going to be the same person that shows up every time, regardless of what's going on. Yeah. So that's the stability part. And that, I think that is what character is.
Yeah.
Being stable, consistent, and showing up the same over and over.
Goes back to that. It's a little bit of a cliche phrase, but when someone shows you who they are, believe them. Yep. I mean, that's the character, right? That's not the fake reputation side of it. But, you know, I think it's important to, when you do see, going back to the reckoning, when you do see someone's character, it's important to not judge people. It's, especially when you're in the business of doing like what we do. It's just meeting them where they are, right? It's human nature to have character flaws. And we all have them, to different degrees. And then there's two types of people. There are the people that are either going to judge you for them and try to, like tear you down because of them or whatever. And there's other people that are going to meet you right where they are, who are actually very solid character people. And they're going to realize you've got room for growth, and it lovingly, and maybe in a different podcast, we can talk about how to do that, but lovingly challenge you in those moments to just reach outside of that, who you're acting as right now or who you're being as right now, and shape. One thing I want to chat about here before we really talk about deeper on the character side is that it's really important to understand that building reputation is exhausting. And this is the people that you'll see constantly where they're making post after post after post after post after post, trying to validate who they say they are. And the difference is, like, if you go to very motivational, inspirational people who have a significant character that is really great and they've worked a long time to build it and whatever, they don't need the validation. So when they come on to talk about something specifically in like social media, is you can feel the impact it's having because they're like speaking it from their soul. This is not a manufactured thing. This is a wisdom, like wise words that are coming out of them because they've taken time to reflect on it. They've thought about it. They've worked through it, whatever. And then when they finally decide to say something about it, it's meaningful. It's not like a heavily produced, I need you to believe this is who I am. It's just actually who they are. And it just comes out of them naturally.
Yeah. Very genuine.
It's very genuine. It's a great way to put it.
And everyone can feel it.
Yes. Yeah. I know we probably think about the same guy. He always says the things and we're just like, damn, that was good. But yeah, there's probably a few of them that a couple that we follow. Okay. So let's talk about, we've talked about what pressure does to people. And I want to go a little bit deeper in that, but I think the key thing is, and all of that is making sure, and I'm going to give you some tactical things here in a second, but making sure that you're constantly putting yourself, under pressure and having enough self-awareness to go, okay, did I like how I showed up in that moment? Right. And so the gym is a great space for that because you can, you guys are probably going to laugh a little bit when I say it, but it's like, how do you feel when you drive to the gym? Like what are the words you're saying to yourself driving to the gym? I don't want to do this today. I'm not excited about this, right? How do you feel about when you get out of your car and you're walking into the gym, right? I'll give you a literal example, right? I was not proud of myself for this. But it was really good feedback. So we were in South Carolina, maybe last week or 2 weeks ago. And it was pouring down rain outside. I know you know where I'm going with this because you're already smiling, but it was pouring down rain. It was not a normal rain. It was what I would label as a soaking rain. Like the second that you got out of your vehicle, if you didn't have an umbrella or you weren't inside within like 3 or 4 steps, you were drenched. I mean, drenched from head to toe, soaked, water everywhere, streets flooded, whatever. Alisa goes to burn So she goes to the gym. It's pouring down rain. How far away did you park from the gym door?
I park like outside the park. I park like in the next parking lot over.
Yeah. So how far would you say it is from where you park to getting inside?
I have no idea.
I mean, how many steps? Give ballpark it. 50?
I would say more, 150.
Okay. So let's just say it's 150, 200 steps to get inside the building, right? So for sure, from the time that you got out of your car to the time you got in the building, you were soaking wet.
Yes. And my jacket was still wet after.
Still wet after, right? Okay. So she gets to burn. She says, I'm sitting in the parking lot. I'm about to go inside. I'm going to go inside. That she ran inside. And then she gets inside. She's like, I'm really wet, but I gotta get working out. I gotta go do this thing. Okay. I bitched out this day. Okay. I literally drove to the gym. I was not in a good headspace. I was having negative self-talk with myself about the fact that it's raining and F this day and whatever. I got out of my truck, literally started running toward the door and made it about 20 steps and was soaking wet, turned around and went back to my truck and left. This is a real story, isn't it? Yeah. And so I want you guys to know, like, there are moments where this happens. And I was mad at myself, like the literal whole entire day because of it, because I'm like, this is crazy. I could have gone in, you went in. Now I feel like a pansy. I should have gone in, all of that stuff. But after a while, it ended up stopped raining. I went outside, went for a walk, still did some movement, whatever. But in that moment, that's showing me a character flaw and myself. Like where else? And so here's the key to this, right? Where else is this showing up? Where else am I not willing to go inside because I'm afraid to get wet? Where else am I not willing to do the work because I'm uncomfortable? Right. And this is the key to the whole thing, you guys. Like, you can either spend your whole life building this reputation on what you want people to think, or you can do the hard work of the character side of things and really go deep into like looking at areas inside of yourself where you're like, where am I not showing up? Like under pressure, how am I showing up? In life, where am I not showing up? Where am I so comfortable, like in my truck, that I'm unwilling to get out and get a little damp, soaking wet, regardless, and just go in and do the work, right? And I'm literally, you guys understand, I'm literally watching other people get out of their cars and go inside to this and getting soaking wet. Like, some people don't have umbrella, but old women are doing this. Old men are doing this. But I'm just like, that day, I'm just like, I didn't do it, right? So in those moments, you can either beat yourself up. Like we saw people in the reckonings that, like you said, they would just stop, or they would, whatever. And we'd go sit alongside of them. And a lot of these were, guess what? Done in the pouring rain. Yes. Oddly enough. How weird is that? Yep. I mean, that's like a full circle moment for me, right? But it's uncomfortable, right? It's the discomfort. And we would go stand alongside these people and say, you can do this. Like, speak life into them, right? Meet them where they were and get them to do the work regardless of being incredibly uncomfortable, and learn to embrace it. And then get to the point where, like, these people would go from like, the evolution would be like, why are we doing this? To like pissed off, to like sad, to like, okay, fine. And then they would just embrace it, and like their whole demeanor would change. Like, some of them were out there smiling doing this, right? But I'm just telling you guys this because it's like, you're going to go through different phases of life where it's like, there's definitely been moments where I'm like, I want people to believe that I'm this, but I'm not this right now, but I want them to believe this. Go ahead. Yeah.
So you get that. Like, I want them to believe this, but I'm not this. You do this, what you want them to believe, or you don't.
That's right.
And you don't talk about it. Like, you don't already say you're there when you're not, if that makes sense. Yeah. And I will say, like, a couple years ago, maybe like 2 years ago, I had to put a background on my phone, like my phone screen background. It's not like a pretty picture of my wedding or a pretty picture of my kids. My phone background literally just says the words, like, if you say it, do it, period. Because that was a time where I was like, well, I'm acting this way, or I'm saying I'm doing this, or I'm saying I'm eating healthy and I'm actually eating ice cream, or whatever the case is. I say I'm going to the gym, but I'm not. I fell a little bit from that. And I had to give myself that reminder every time I picked up my phone. If you say it, do it.
Yeah.
So that's like, a little thing that I had to do too, because like you said, everyone's human and we go through phases and we know who our character is. And we also know if we're kind of out of alignment on there. And if we are talking about a bunch of stuff that we're not doing, then we're projecting a reputation that isn't true. And our only choices are become that reputation or stop talking about it. Right. Those are really the only two options.
You're right. I mean, it's the same thing for like people that say all the time, I'm going to start Monday. Or hey guys, I got this big thing coming and you guys are going to be pumped about it or whatever. And then you're like waiting for the big thing to come and it never does. Well, that's because they're out of alignment. Like they want to do it. There's something in them that's telling you that made them want to post it because maybe they just want the applause. They need the validation or whatever. But most of the time they want to do it. Like they legit want to do it. But then when they realize the work that's required to do it, they don't want to do the work that's required to do it because they're stuck in their comfort level. So they just want you to give them applause for what they were considering doing. And you say this all the time. If people would just be honest and tell the truth, like imagine if somebody posted, hey guys, I'm thinking about doing this thing. I don't know if I'm really going to do it, but I would like for you guys to just clap for me because I might do it. Can you just give me some attaboys for Mike doing? I mean, that would be like, imagine what the world would be like if people just said that, because that's really what they want. They want the validation and the applause before they ever do the work.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I love that.
Well, I'm going to talk about some tactical things, just as an idea of how do you go from the reputation side of it to the character building, right? I would say number one, keep a journal. Like, the whole thing in this is self-awareness. You have to have, and do whatever works for you. I'm just going to give you guys some ideas, but it's really just having this high level of self-awareness. Like we're writing a book right now. I don't enjoy the process of writing it, but I know the importance of doing it. So sometimes when you're like, hey, I need you to proofread some stuff or whatever, I might not in the moment feel like proofreading some stuff, but I also know if I just do it and get it done, then it's one less thing I got to worry about. Right. So we made an agreement. We're doing it, that kind of thing. But I think it's important that you guys, especially when you're starting out, you feel the moment where maybe you committed to doing something and this voice inside of you shows up and it tries to talk you out of doing it, or maybe it does talk you out of doing it, and you write it down. It could be in your phone, it could be in a journal, whatever, but you start to really start to process it. What about that kept me from doing the thing? And I would say, try to do your best and not have negative self-talk, not call yourself names. You know, I used to say when I would speak on stage, if you could personify the negative voice in your head and make it an actual human and have that person with you all day long, how long would you be friends with that person? I think for you, it would be a long time because you do a really good job processing negative self-talk. You don't live in that space very long. For me, I wouldn't want to be friends with that person ever. Right. So that's still an ongoing thing for me forever. But like, what are some ways that you do that? What are some ways that you go through and you're like, okay, I'm out of alignment with this thing, or I want people to see me as this, but I'm going to need to do this. And then I got to process through that. How do you typically deal with that?
Kind of just exactly what I said. If I say it, I'm going to do it. So if I say it, I do it. And if I can't do it, this is the other thing I would add to earlier is being transparent and being open. And that applies for really anything. So if I tell you I'm going to do a high rocks and
which you are,
then yes, which I am signed up for. So if I say I'm going to do that and for some reason I get through the training and I'm not going to do it, well, I need to be transparent with everyone that I've told I'm going to do it. So, I don't know, for me, it's like the transparency, even if it's in business. So if you're like, hey, I'm going to, schedule a one-on-one with you next Thursday and you don't do it, then I don't know. That's just a silly example.
It's a character issue.
Exactly. Yep. So I think a lot of people, or I speak for myself because sometimes I do this too, where you're like, I said I was going to do something. So my character is to do it. If I say it, I'm going to do it. And I realize I can't do it. It's like a hard conversation that has to be had for whoever you told you would do the thing for. And not having the hard conversation or being transparent with that person causes a lot more like stress on the mind and the body, because you're literally thinking about it all the time. Like, I have to figure out how to have this conversation and what to say. And so it causes myself and others, I feel, to not be as transparent and just kind of get it out of the way, if that makes sense. Just do what you say, because then it will all match, and be transparent and open to having hard conversations when it's necessary.
Yeah.
Because we're all human. Like, we can definitely mess up and make big mistakes that are direct contradictions to the character, to our character.
Yeah.
And so then we just have to be transparent and open about it and work our way back to that stability and trust, and to get the character back, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
I would say, too, like, if you guys want to test yourself, which I think is really important, that you do it pretty regularly, a couple times a day, 3 or 4 times a day, maybe, if you're up to it, is put yourself in situations of controlled discomfort. Okay. So this would be like, say that you're going to go do something hard, like publicly declare that you're going to go do something hard. Okay. It could be to your wife. It could be to your kids. You don't have to make it on social media, but publicly declare that you're going to do something hard. That something hard could be a mile run. Like, if you got to start where you are, right? Be where your feet are at, So if this is not what you're normally doing, then it might be that. It could be a mile run. It could be 100 push-ups. It could be whatever. I like physical stuff because it gives you instant feedback, right? So say you're going to do something hard. It could be a hard workout. It could be fasting. It could be sitting in a cold plunge. We know how difficult that is. So public speaking, accountability, whatever. And then immediately write down or be self-aware of the thought that goes into your head now of actually having to go do the thing. So that's the first thing, right? Okay, I'm going to go run a mile. Oh, and then so some thoughts are going to start, like, I'm going to go run a mile next Tuesday. Okay, the next Tuesday shows up. Some thoughts are going to start to go through your mind. Like, I'm excited to do this, or I don't want to do this. Right? Yeah. Right. So you're going to get feedback. You're going to get self-feedback in your own brain. Write that down. Okay. That is good, bad, or indifferent. That's something that you're going to have to work through most of the time. Right. Then when you're actually doing the thing, you're going to get more feedback. Right. All of this is right. Notice how I'm not labeling it. I'm just saying it's feedback. That's what it is. You're going to get another set of feedback that's going to be like, I'm not enjoying this. This sucks. Blah, 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 blah. Make a note somewhere of why you feel that way. And then what that feedback does is it becomes opportunity for you to advance or get better, right? And I'm going to tell you, and you can speak on this too, but I'm going to tell you, like, when you get to a place of not having to declare, this is what I'm going to go do, and you just go do the thing and you do it well, you execute on it well, and then you're transparent after doing the thing about what all went through your head while that was leading up to this and how you overcame it in order to do that is so much more significantly impactful than by declaring it, wanting the applause. It sucks when you're going through it. Then you end up doing it, and then you want another set of applause on the backside for doing what you said you would do. Does that make sense? So it's just better to just do the thing. Like, do the thing. It's hard, whatever. Then go and be like, this is what I did, and this was the process of doing it, and it sucked, and blah, 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 blah. But here's how I overcame. That story is going to be so much more motivational to the people than being like, I'm about to go buy a McLaren. And then people are like, okay, cool. I can't wait to see it. But then you never buy it. And people are like, what happened there, bro? It's a lot more fun to just post the photo and be like, here's how I was able to do this and tell the story and blah, blah. Like, So
I wanted to add, because sometimes, we all get into the slumps, and I think the best way to build character is making small promises to yourself about little things. I remember, like, I work. When we were in South Carolina, I do my work at the kitchen sink and the dishes are literally right there. And I would have days of dirty dishes. And so I'm like, one of my values, like personal values, is clean and orderly spaces. So it took me a little while to realize that dirty dishes in the sink from last night were impacting the work I was doing today. Because like while I'm sitting there, I'm seeing these dishes that I didn't put away. So I did this with my entire team, my entire ops team from Brandon J. I did this with them. I said, hey guys, we're going to do the dishes like every night. Every night, you're going to send me a photo, or you're going to choose the little thing, the little promise that you know in the back of your head needs to be done today. It doesn't have to be the dishes. That's just what mine is. Yep. But we started getting into the habit where we were putting like clean dishes in, or like a empty sink photo in the group chat. And that was the one promise. I was like, another night I did the dishes. Yep. Another night I did the dishes. And when you start to stack those up and that becomes a habit, now I've proved to myself I can keep one promise.
And you can trust yourself.
Yes, because I said I'm going to do it. This goes back to saying you're going to do it, then doing it. I would get, lazy. I'm going to do the dishes, then I would get tired and not do the dishes. So anyway, that one habit I'm building. Okay, now I have the dish, like I'm doing the dishes every night regardless. Okay, next step, I'm going to start the coffee pot before I go to bed. So this way in the morning, I just press start instead of washing, cleaning, reloading, all that. Then you can start doing, and I'm just using examples, like small examples, but everyone I think has something in the back of their head that they're like, I should do this. And then they just never do it.
They just don't do it.
So start small.
Yeah.
What's one promise you can tell yourself today that you will actually do, and repeat that over and over and over.
Yeah.
Once you have that down, then you can start adding the things on top of that. But you are keeping promises to yourself, which is really important.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, if you can't, and I'm speaking a lot of times when I'm saying these things, I'm not saying you guys, I'm saying like me, right? If I can't keep the promise to myself, then how do I trust myself? If I can't trust myself with a little decision, how do I trust myself with a big decision, right? And when those moments come up where I got to make a big decision, if I don't trust myself, if I don't have a pattern or a history of trusting myself, I'm going to stop and pause and maybe not make the best decision, or might not make a decision at all, which could also cost me a lot on the other side. But I think I want to take you guys through just some tactical things, some questions to really ask yourself. I hear a lot of time guys say that they're super like burnt out. They use the term burnt out, or they say that they're exhausted from life or whatever. And there's a question that goes along with that is basically like, are you exhausted because you're burned out or life is hard? Or are you exhausted because you're just performing and not keeping your word in certain areas? And there's a lot of open loops in your life, and you're trying to portray this certain type of reputation, but it's exhausting because you're really not doing the work you need to do in order to move the needle forward, right? So it can physically, mentally, and emotionally exhaust you if you're going through that. Are you afraid that people will discover the real you? I mean, I've gone through phases like that in my life where I'm like, I know what needs to be done, and I'm telling other people what needs to be done, but I'm not doing the thing. And I don't want, there were definitely times where I shut things down because I'm like, I don't want people to understand that I'm out of integrity in this thing, right? Have you tied your worth to achievement? I mean, it's so many times we run into people where their identity is in what they're doing, not who they are. That's the difference, right? And if your identity is in what you're doing, that's reputation. If your identity is in who you are, that's character, right? Are you building a life you actually enjoy, or one that just looks impressive, right? So these are things that, you guys just need to ask yourselves, right? These are why we put these things in here. So I want to give you guys a challenge for this next week if you're open to doing it. I always like to put these things out and just you guys, if you guys are open to doing it, I know you'll get a significant return from it. So I'm going to put these out here. So this next week, I don't want you guys to post anything on social media that is an accomplishment, or that is seeking validation, or that it is forcing you to over-explain yourself, right? So you're not going to post wins. You're not going to post anything that needs validation, like what do you guys think? How do you guys, whatever. And nothing that's over-explaining yourself, which would be like a long-form post that's going into why someone said something about something, then do you, blah, blah. I mean, it's just like a lot of long garbage, right? And instead, focus completely on a discipline that you're trying to learn, Okay. Something that you're really trying to learn or do, or a skill, something of that nature, being present, relationships, peace. Like, what are you doing to help yourself be calm, peaceful, and something where like, maybe where you said you were going to do something and you did the thing, and tell the story about how you felt while doing the thing. And like Alisa, the dishes thing is a perfect example. You even got to a point, if I can be transparent, and you can always tell stories like this about me too, where you are so, I don't know what the word is, like not obsessed, but like frustrated with the whole dishes situation for a minute, where you were just like, the kids should do their own dishes and da da da. And now you just got past to a point where they're like, well, I could force them to do it, which is not going to end well. Like, there's going to be like whatever. Or I could just do it. And because I'm ultimately, what you decided was, you're like, this is a me problem. We definitely don't allow the kid, like, you got to have respect for people. You can't just be like, well, like mom is like obsessed with the dishes being in the sink or whatever, so I'm just going to put mine in there because she'll do them later. That's also not okay. But also, like, it's a thing where it bothers you, like, because to you, it feels a certain way. There's like, I don't know, you just don't like having the clutter or whatever the case may be. Maybe speak on that a little. So you just decided, I'm going to give myself my own piece and I'm just going to do them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it takes 2 minutes and it's done. And I have a lot more joy because the place is neat and orderly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's, well, and I've got things like that too. I mean, it's just like, you can complain about it or you can just do it. Mm-hmm. Right. I think that's just really, really important. So, okay. So I want to wrap things up with you guys today and just go through, it's important to remember, character is always going to be built and private. Reputation is always going to be what you guys see in public. So I think that's really, really important. Unless you can get around people in situations of high pressure and really see who they are and how they show up under situations of high pressure, you're not going to really know what their character exists of, right? So I would caution you a little bit. Just have some discernment in, if you see people who constantly are trying to get you to believe that this is who they are, and you're constantly just seeing like post after post after post that's seeking validation, permission, accolades, so on and so on. I would just stop a minute and have some discernment and be like, I wonder who these people are at their core. Right. And then if you want to see who they really are at their core, there's a lot of things you could do. You could start to engage with them on a deeper level, and then, get in situations where you see them under pressure, or you hear them make a promise, and do they keep their word? Those types of things. And that's really what you should base your, I don't know if I like the word judgment, but like you should base your decisions on, like, is this somebody that I really want in my circle or not? Right? Are they saying the thing and then doing the thing? Or even more than that, are they just doing the thing without saying the thing? Right? They don't need the high fives and the ass slaps and whatever. But they're just doing the thing. Yep. Yeah. You got some, you don't have anything on that? Oh, sometimes you just say, yep. And I'm like, I wonder if she's got something to add here, but it's just you saying, yep. I appreciate you validating me, honey. So yeah, good stuff. So I just want to go through that with you guys. And the final thing that I want to really drive home to you guys is, ultimately, the legacy of what you leave is going to be based on one of two things. It's going to be based on the reputation that you worked so hard and exhaustively tried to convince people of who you were, or the character that you build and the way that you impacted not only yourself or the lives of other people. And for me, like, I think you would say, I'm constantly wrestling with this, right? I'm constantly wrestling with, I want to make sure that whatever we do, it's impacting people on a positive level, because again, I'm not perfect, and I've done a lot of things in my past where I know I had an opportunity to be impactful in a positive way, and I showed up weak. I showed up frustrated, emotionally weak, angry at times or whatever, under pressure. And I didn't like that version of myself, right? I did not enjoy that. So that's something I've been really conscious of a lot, especially over these last probably 3 or 4 years, and really working to develop a better version of myself. But you do a good job setting the tone for that. So yeah, you do a good job of that. So we appreciate you guys. If you guys have questions, for us at any time. You guys can go to questions at thereadystatus.com. We're going to be launching the new website soon. We're going to be, we've got a book coming. We'll talk more about that later in other episodes. We've got a lot of really cool things. We're working on a facility and all kinds of really fun stuff that we're going to be talking to you guys about as we go. But we appreciate the hell of you guys. Please like, comment, share the podcast. Anything you want to add on the backside here?
I'm all good.
Okay, she's all good. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Take care. See you.